Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this video we are going to understand the Pacific Atlantic water flow. This is the problem from the Leetcode 417. The question saying that we have given this island as you can see here, right, which is surrounded by the two oceans. The very first left and the up side is the Pacific, and the right side and the down is Atlantic Ocean. So this is a you can say island, and each cell represents the height of the sea level, you can say, right? So let's read the first question saying that we have given the island, that is m cross n island we have given, which is given 1 2 2 3 4 5 like that. We have given these cells, and both are surrounded by the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, right? So this ocean touches the sides as I have discussed, right? And after that it is saying that the island can be partitioned into the square of grid that we can see here. Also it is saying that it is known as the matrix height, and each cell represents the height above the sea level. Okay, so these cells are nothing but the height above the sea level, and each coordinate is called row and column. Okay, but there is one problem. It is saying that the island receives a lot of rain, and the rainwater can flow to the neighboring cells directly to any direction, either the north, south, east and west, any direction it can move. So it is saying if the neighbor cell height is less than or equal to, right, means let's suppose for in this case, right, if we talking about the two, so if the rain is happening more, so 1 2 2 and these two, this will be get filled automatically, right? Means I'm talking about these two. So for these two, one is smaller, less than or equal, you can just say it is true. For these two, it is also less than or equal to. For these two, it is less than or equal to. So this will become filled with the water, right? So it is saying if the neighboring cell's height is less than equal to the current cell height, means the water can flow from any adjacent to the ocean into the ocean. So this will become the ocean, right? So it is saying we have to return to the grid of list of grid coordinates, that is called results, as you can see here, and each results can contain the row and columns, right? We can say for each what you call the cell, and this cell, the resultant cell denotes the rainwater flows from the given cell to the Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean, we can say that. Okay, both, that is going to the both side, we can say, right? This is what we have given. If you go through these examples, you will clearly understand that when we talk about the 04, means 04 is a Pacific Ocean and 04 is Atlantic Ocean, right? Means you can see in the grid we are talking about the 04, means 0 is the cell, right? Left for this case for 0, and we'll say 1 2 3 4, right? So we talk about this one, these cells, right? So 04. Okay, similarly it is saying that this is a Pacific Ocean and this is Atlantic Ocean, right? Similarly, once we talk about 13, means 13 going to 03 is a Pacific Ocean, and 13 represent to 14 is Atlantic Ocean, right? As you can see here. So when we talk about 13, right, so from 0 to 3 it becomes the Pacific Ocean, right? So we know that this left and this upside is for what? The Pacific Ocean. When we talk about the 14, means we are talking about this side, right? So for this one, it will go to here, so this become to the Atlantic Ocean, right? Like that we will understand. So like that we will see, and then we will check all these are merged or not merged, right? So it is very simple course, so I'll show you. So what we need to do, we will create the row and column we can find, right? We have the given heights we have given. From there we will get the, if you do the heights dot length, you will get the rows, and if you toggle the columns, you get the height at 0 dot length, you will get the columns. Then for the Atlantic and the Pacific, you have to define these two as a boolean type of the grid for each specific one, which one is for the you can say the Pacific, and what is for the Atlantic. Means all the cells you have to define this is true for the respective cells, right? Means we want the grid to look like which is for, let's suppose I want to represent for the page pick. So we'll say, okay, these are my cells, row and column. We'll multiply with the row into column, and we will build our grid, right? Then what we should do, we should track what are the things we have. So for tracking, we have to create these two, means we have to traverse, right? So when we are going for the traversing, right, so we'll go for all the columns, right? Similarly, we'll go for all the rows, okay? And this will be our resultant cells that contains the things, okay? Then we could talk about we will traverse for all the rows, all the columns. And internally we'll call the DFS utility methods that will traverse in the DFS way, right? So very first we'll start from the 0 and the columns, and we'll go for the with the page pick one, right? So we'll go for, and we'll check all the cell value, okay? We'll understand what is the DFS is doing. Then for when the row is 0 to the column, we'll start another one is from the row -1, right? Rows -1 in the last one, last row. This is the first row, and this is the last row. So we have to use like this, okay? According to this, if we update the row -1, right, simultaneously, we will go for the Atlantic. This is for the Pacific, this is for Atlantic. Means when we are going for all the columns, we have to go for both the DFS for the Pacific and DFS for the Atlantic one, right? But only the changes is there. The Pacific, we know that it starts from the 0, right? Let me show you again. We know that it starts from 0 0, right? And when we talk about the Atlantic, it starts from where? Here, the last one, m1 minus n1, right? Last one. And for that we have to take the row minus, it starts from the row -1 and the column, right? So we'll say, okay, this is our Atlantic. So for the height, it will become what? Row -1. So for this, we will take the column itself, because second time we also have to take row will be there and column -1, right? So both cases we have to check. So I hope you will understand these two loops. Once this, so internally we are calling these DFS methods. Let's talk about the DFS method first. So DFS method is, we are traversing all the row, column, and we are going for all the rows and columns. So we'll check each time it is visited or not visited, right? And then we will check the previous heights. What is the previous heights we have, right? So these are nothing but the heights we are sending, right? So this is the current height, and with the we'll check with the previous height and what is the current height we have. So this is the boundary condition that we need to check. Means we will check all the rows should not be less than 0, row will be greater than equal to rows, and similar for the columns. When we talk about it is visited or not visited, we will check like this, and then we'll check the previous height, it should be greater than the row and column, right? Then we'll mark as a true, and we'll say we'll traverse for all, let's suppose row +1, column -1, right? Again we'll go with the row -1 and the column +1. So all these possibilities, let's suppose for the row +1, row -1, we'll go for the column +1, and we'll go for the column -1. So again you have to use for all the directions, but make sure that you are using these conditions, right? And for each cells, if you traversing, you have to mark it as a visited or not visited, right? Once it is visited, you don't need to go again, because if you go again, so it will go in the infinite loop. So what you need to do, every cells you have to mark it as a visited, okay? So it's very easy. What you need to do, you have to make the conditions for all these boundaries conditions, and one more condition you need to do, you have to pass this is a visited, it should be visited, right? And then we'll check what is this, the previous height should be greater. If it is the previous height is greater than the current height, right, then we'll return, we will not do anything, okay? Otherwise, in the other cases, what we need to do, we have to traverse, okay? So if the row is less than 0, row is greater than equal to rows, column is less than 0, right, it is greater than equal to, if it is visited, in these cases we will not do anything, right? We'll return it. Otherwise, first we'll mark it and we'll traverse for all the columns. I hope you understand. Means all the direction will move. Row +1, row -1, column +1, column -1. This is the 4 directions we have to pass, okay? Once you are traversing all these, I hope once you will traverse all these possible things, what means all the 4 directions, right? Once you we will update our what you call the Pacific and the Atlantic columns you will update, right? Then we will talk about this row and column. Okay, so once you go for all the row and column, you will check what are the trues are there. If all the Pacifics are true and all the Atlantic are true, you need to just add into the cell, right? So the particular if the cell, if the current cell is true for the Pacific and true cell is true for the Atlantic cell is also true, right, for this particular I and J, right? In that case we have to add this result, because if you see the resultant cell saying that denotes the rainwater can flow from the cell, this current cell, to both Pacific and the oceans, right? In that case we have to check these both should be true, because the water should flow in both the oceans, right? And then those things we have to add it. So we'll just need to add it. Okay, and this is what we have result. We know that the result will store a list of what you call I and J, so we have to store that cell values. Okay, cell you can say. So that is what I have, and this will support, because the constraint we have given, according to that it will allow us to create these two Pacific and Atlantic 2D arrays, and it satisfies the example. As you can go down, you can see that the constraint we have given is, we have given the M and N means the height, means the row and column, it should be greater than or equal to 1 and less than 200, right? And the value at the what you call the each cell is greater than or equal to 0 and less than equal to 10 to the 5, right? But the M and N is less than or equal to 200, so this will satisfy. Okay, if it is larger one, then you have to think about that, the alternative solutions, but for now it will work, and that's all I have. In case you need any help, let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.